positive or negative, or we're trying real hard not to be what they said we are. So I need to find out in the midst of all what people say and what people think, and then what I think, who am I really?
Wow. And I'm also hearing is that we got a lot of broke souls.
We do.
A
We got a
lot,
lot of broken people,
and
hurting.
it's a lot of work. And as we saw this past election cycle, and the numbers came out, and people voted, and we also saw some trends that came out that 33% of the electoral that voted, it was a huge population that didn't vote. So only
Again.
33% voted, but it affects 100% of the people.
Yes.
And we got a generation, millennials, that just ain't voting.
Right.
So we haven't given them a voice. We haven't given them a say so. And so they kind of checked out the process. Talk about some of the ways people back in this process, because we got to find constructive ways to engage people. I have some ideas, but I want to hear some of yours.
So many people, young and old, don't vote simply because they feel disenfranchised. They feel like my voice don't matter, feel like I don't matter. So it takes, and I know this may sound redundant because many people are saying this, but it takes a grassroots approach. Going door to door, and then setting up programs that's showing people that they do matter. They're literally allowing their voices to be heard, letting them see that that you are a vital part of society, especially as African Americans. Most of us feeling we are being villainized. Most of us feel as though we're not being validated. Most of us feel as though, I go in the store, they follow me. I'm being stopped and pulled over. Like anything bad is always pointed towards us. So we have to reverse that picture and start showing our young people that they matter. I was reading an article earlier. They feel literally hurt because when they were saying nobody was listening, and that's a major thing. So it's like, here we go again. Do I really matter?
Right.
Yeah.
Very much so. And we saw that movement all over the weekend, how people was marching in the streets and different things like that. And there was 17 that was killed down
Which is a tragedy.
Take nothing away from that. But on any given weekend, on summer weekend,
exactly,
it's 17 killed in our community. I think it shows us, me, my worth to the society. I know what they think of me, so don't get it. I'm not confused, and many people, we kind of get confused, and we these laws was put in place to keep us down. The Second Amendment was put in place to have a readily armed militia for slave catchers to keep us. So I do believe we need to ratify the Second Amendment, because I don't think we gonna get guns out of every household. I also heard a statistic. There is only 3 nations in the world that you can own guns legally, and it's United States, Guatemala, and Mexico. And I was like, wow. You can't own them in Canada, you can't own them in France, you can't own them in London and Europe and England. And I was like, wow. But so I don't think we'll be able to take away guns as a whole, but I think we can put some things in place. And one of the things, since we on that topic of guns, you don't see mass shootings in black schools. And I figured out why you don't see mass shootings in black schools.
Why is it?
Because black schools already got a police officer to keep the black kids in check, and it's already a metal detector to make sure ain't no guns coming in there or anything else. And it ain't to say that students, is to protect those teachers in there, because if Johnny get out of hand, they gonna send them to the they talk about the prison to school pipeline. When kids
school to prison pipeline,
school to prison pipeline. Our kids ain't performing. They not getting the education, and then they go into the back in the streets and different things like that. But I don't think you see mass shootings in our schools, because they put safeguards against crime in our school. They made them criminals before they even was criminals. So guns ain't in our schools like that. That's why I don't think we see mass shooting. And our mindset is a little bit different. You know, our mindset is a little bit different. If I got a problem with you, I'm gonna deal with you. I ain't about to deal with uh the person that sit three desks next to you. You know, so that's why I don't think you see mass shootings in our schools. What do you think?
I think that a couple of months ago, I wrote an article in the Voice, and the article was we are fighting a battle on two fronts, and we are. And what I meant by that, when you read the entire article, I talk about the fact that as African Americans, we're fighting a battle from outside forces, mainstream America, where individuals are shooting us down in the streets like dogs, and they get they're getting desk duty, but then they get their money back and their job back, right back on the streets. So they treat us like we are inhumans, and we're fighting that battle. Then we're fighting a battle amongst ourselves, because the 19 people who were killed or shot over the weekend, all those were by us. So you have people who are trying to live right and do right in the middle. So now what we have to do exactly. So it's not just them killing us, but it's them killing us, and then it's us killing us. One of my close friends was
So.
murdered. He was murdered last what was Sunday, coming out of the store. Just had his funeral yesterday, and he was murdered by the hands of someone that looked like him. So now we yet again we have to begin to reach out to our young people. We have to begin to rebuild our families. We have to rebuild our communities from the inside out. When I know we say Black Lives Matter, but in my mind, in order for Black lives to matter to others, it has to matter to us first. So when someone takes the life of an African American, be it from outside or inside, we have to have the same mindset. We have to be just as upset when someone that looks like us kill us, as when someone that does not look like us kill
Well, I
us.
think one of the things, one's critical when you're talking about guns and we talking about family structure, and we got a lot of topics, but one of the things that's critical, you know, I remember I hadn't always been on the right side of the tracks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I tried to do a few things and I tried to come on home, my mom said, "Don't bring that stuff up in here, boy."
The home, exactly. That's what I mean by the home.
Don't bring that stuff up on in here.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that many times within our communities, we know who the shooters is.
Exactly.
We know who doing wrong, and it be the upstanding members of our community society, and we know that little Johnny doing all type of wrong. He snatching person, he carjacking. You know, if you got a 15-year-old boy and he getting up at 12 o'clock at night and he going with his buddy, he doing something wrong.
Exactly.
You know, so we got to stop harboring, you know, these individuals within our community that's doing perpetuating this violence.
And we have to find out why they're doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
One is that wanting to fit in with friends. Two is poverty. Three is a lack of education. Two is no training. So if we can have policies that's going to educate our children the way they need to be educated, if they can create policies that's going to get our young people, trades. As a college professor, I can say everyone, I can put this, everyone is not college material, I'll say. Some people need trade schools. And there's nothing wrong with having a trade, because it gives you something to fall back on. It's those policies saying that we're going to fund, and then the trade schools should be in our neighborhood. Why is it that we have to go up north? We have to go, downtown. We have to go all these other neighborhoods in order to get educated or traded or find a trade school, when I need to go right out of my door, right down the street.
Yeah, you say that. I always resort back to what my father. I remember working sun up and sun down with him, and him passed me a couple dollars, and I was look at the couple dollars and like, man, what's going on? You cheating me? And he was like, I can't teach you a trade and pay you too.
Exactly.
But I can always go back to that if need be. If need be, I can go back to that. And those are the things that we don't teach our children anymore is trades. We don't have any good mechanic shops within our communities that look like us, store clerks that look like us, electricians that look like us, carpenters, masonry, and all these other skilled tradesmen that we can have within our community. We need those programs started back in our schools.
Exactly.
And then they can go from that trade to another one. So when they come out of this apprentice program, they can start making a journeyman salary. Because these guys make good money.
Exactly.
Good money.
And having that trade makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah. Now you ain't working for somebody, you're working for yourself. And now you can able to provide for a family. You can get you a good old girl, house, job, take care of your kids. And that's the same thing that little Johnny want on the street.
Exactly.
Exactly. He just going about it getting, it's a different way, but he want the same goals that he want to be able to buy his kids some new clothes, want to be able to pay his rent, have some money in his pocket, and feed himself and provide.
Everybody want to eat.
So that's the same thing, but we just got to give individuals different means to get to those different means. And the saying goes, the best way to stop a bully is a job.
Create opportunities within the community. Exactly. Because, guns, I say this all the time, guns don't kill people. People kill people with guns. But if I can teach that person that every life matters, if I can teach that person that, I'm not only affecting that person, but I'm affecting their family and minds as well. I think that kind of would curve down some of the violence.
You know what? And you said you did your thesis on families, but I said if I ever go back to school, I'd do a thesis on, I know what it is. It's called Grand Theft Auto Syndrome. Because
video games,
they run around just like a video game. They're hitting people upside the head. They carjacking is at an all-time high, and I don't think we can police or lock up our society to think this problem gonna go away, because there's gonna be somebody else. We tried that 3 strikes you out under the Clinton administration. He took the policies of Reagan and Bush and just changed the language and said that, okay, we're going to make it a little democratic now. And we found out that we was stripping individuals from their community as well. We was putting people in jail for life for $25 worth of controlled substances. So I think we have to create policies to bring back a group of individuals that's been left behind. Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot of work.
I think it's a lot of work. I think it's just going back to families, because now there have been studies. We talked about what you call it, Grand Theft Auto. Well, Albert Bandura, he did a study about violence in media, and it showed that music and what we see on television affects our behavior. Aggressive music makes us aggressive. Aggressive television makes us aggressive. Aggressive video games make us aggressive. And one thing about when you're young, children can't tell the difference between fiction and reality. It all runs together because they lack theory of mind. So it takes, I'm going back to the family again. It takes the family, someone in the house has to monitor what they're playing, what they're watching, what they're listening to, what they're doing. Because I said that the life you save may be your own.
You talk about the family. I remember growing up and we didn't have a bunch of TVs. We had one TV. One TV, and you got called in from outside to turn it. But but in saying that, we picked programming that everybody watched together, and we had that unit.
Exactly. That family unit.
We had that family unit that everybody watched this program, and it wasn't a lot a lot of that
Exactly.
different things on. But one of the things that I said that was real critical, I believe that is real critical. We are people that don't know where we come from. And what I would like to see the curriculum in the Chicago, every public school throughout this state, that the history of African Americans be taught all the way from the birth, the pre-birth of Jesus, Egypt, slave trade, inventions, all the way, just like they teach the Holocaust. They don't pick a particular month for the Holocaust. They teach it all year round. I think we need the same thing in each school, not just in African American schools, but I think all schools throughout the state. And it'll be revolutionary because we teaching the people their history.
And history is everything.
We teaching them they worth and that they come from kings and queens. I don't think many of us understand that we're rich, we're strong, and there's been policies that's been put in place to rob us of that, and just think of all the inventions that was created that blacks couldn't even label because they was black. You think about, we talking about Loyola, and back in the 60s, that Loyola team was so great. In the 60s, they had black players.
Yeah, and you can only have two players.
You can only have two.
Exactly.
You can only have
at
two
one time.
At one time. So it was Loyola and it was a guy in Texas that was, changed the dynamics. You think about that. And that ain't that long ago.
Right.
That ain't that long ago. But you think about somebody that's born in 85 or 95, they don't know nothing about that. So if we're able to teach that, we can change that. And we can start with the family, curriculum in the schools. And I think those will make a shift into our legislators, because I don't think our legislators do enough. I think they comfortably numb with the society ills and able to get paid back.
Culture is real important. I don't think we understand how important our culture is, because culture makes us who we are. And we talk about our ethnicity, because our culture, that's the norms, the values, the traditions, the foods, the clothing that's been handed down from generation to generation. And for most of us, I talk to other people who tell me that, other ethnicities, they can tell you that their grandmother came over here, their grandfather came over here, their great grandfather came over there, which gives them a strong sense of roots. Give them a strong sense of, if I know where I'm from, I know who I am, therefore I know where I'm going. For most of us, we know our grandmama. We might know our great grandmama, and then that's on our mama's side. Most of us don't know our grandmama on our daddy's side. Most of us don't even know half the family on our daddy's side. And I talk to people all the time. They say, well, I know my mama's mom, but I don't know my daddy's mom. You don't know nothing about them. So so when we don't know them, a part of us is really saying, who am I? A lot. If I don't know, if I grew up without my father. And we know that for a boy, a man names the son, even if he didn't give them the name per se. That man names the son. So just think about, as a boy, your mother may say, "Good job." You're like, "I'm happy," but when your father say, "Good job," your chest sticks out an entire different way, because now, once I've gotten that seal of proof from him, I'm following his footsteps. So if I don't know whose footsteps to follow, then I question myself as being a man.
You said a couple critical things. I know one of the things that I got a 4-year-old child, and one of the things that I did in my home is that I made sure that I call it my wall of fame.
Right, exactly.
So I put pictures up on different cultural events, grandparents, great grandparents, and I got a picture of my great grandfather up there as a doughboy. in World War One, you know, and she's able
in the armies.
In the army. Yeah. So
I remember that picture.
So, you know, I want her to be able to see it daily.
Right, exactly.
To strengthen who she is, the identity, and she can ask questions.
Exactly.
And when she asks those questions, I need her to, you know, I need to explain to her and tell her where she come from, her heritage, her strength, and it's a collection of different things up there. You know, I got a picture of Harold Washington. I got a picture of Horace up there. You know, so I think she needs to know that it's important. It's important. So, kind of give us a recap of what we talked about and some of the things that you really would like to point out.
Going back to family, and I think I really want to overstress, or I cannot overstress the importance of us building these strong families. And the problem that we have, there is a scripture, Genesis 2:24. It says, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and cleave unto his wife." And then it says, "And the two shall be one flesh." We look at that and we don't really understand what it's actually saying. For when it says, "Shall a man leave his father and his mother," the father is the protector and the father is the provider. So now it's telling the man that this is the role that you're getting ready to step in. You can't be the protector and then be protected by someone else. You know what I mean? It's telling the man that now the nurturing that you're going to get or need has to come from your wife. Can't come from your mother. You can't run back to mama every time a problem goes along, or you can't run back, home every time things are not going your way. And it's telling the woman the same thing. That now, as I look at my husband, he's my provider, he's my protector, I'm his nurturer. This is our role that we have to make or we have to fill. Then it says, "Two shall become one." The thing about it is, we think that's an easy task. That is hard. Two, the coming together is not the hard part. All you gotta do is say, "I do." The hard part is becoming one. And the reason why it's so hard is we're both coming from different backgrounds. We're coming from different households, different histories. And now we're trying to make, what you see as being right, and then what me seeing as being right, and make this into this house. And we don't understand that the first cornerstone is loving each other. And many times we don't love the way we're supposed to love. It's like we tend to love, as a man and a woman, we love each other the way we want to be loved and not the way the person wants to be loved. You know what I mean? So you think you're doing the right thing because, I gave you this and I gave you that, or I did this. Well, really, that's not what I wanted. That's what you wanted. So now it takes us understanding, one communicating with each other, find out what is it, what do you need from me? What do you need me to do? What do you need me to show you that I love you? And what this is what I need from you. Then once we can create that foundation, that bond, we can then transfer that to the children.
I think you said it and you touched on something, because I remember getting my wife this mink shawl.
Right.
And I wanted her to wear that mink shawl, and she only wear it very rarely.
Exactly.
And I paid good money for it, but she asked for something. I got her what I wanted her to have.
Right.
I got you.
Right.
I got you.
Exactly.
I think we had a very interesting topic and a very interesting dialogue, which is always, always pleasurable to sit with you and get some insight from you and tell us how to strengthen the family, and we can take that information and turn it back into our community, which strengthens our community. I thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in tonight to Policy Matters. Tune in next week, and I think we'll have another very interesting guest. My guest next week is Dr. Amara Inya, one of the foremost astute persons on policies here in the city of Chicago. Tune in next week here on Policy Matters on Intellectual Radio. Thank you.